Hi, welcome back to Gate to Glory. We had a week off. Your fast track to Hong Kong racing insights. Joshua Reed here. But before I get stuck in, I just want to have my thoughts with everyone in Hong Kong and the Asian region with Typhoon Regaza going through. You can rebuild things, but you can't rebuild lives taken. So I hope everyone stayed safe with Typhoon Regaza. As I introduce Steve and Nathan, I'll start with you, Nathan. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. As you said, condolences and thoughts with everyone over there. It's been a bit of a tragic sort of week. Dreadful weather. Fingers crossed everyone stayed safe and the Hong Kong racing continues this Sunday. Looks a very exciting card. Celebration Cup, Group 3 level. Some really nice horses returning in that. So excited for that. Big racing here in Oz on Saturday as well. So good little precursor heading into Sunday. We missed last week, but hopefully we can bounce back and find a few winners this weekend. And Steve, is you're on as well. Bit of a interesting week, obviously in the weekend, but nice card this Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. And Steve, like, it's not often that they cancel two races on a Sunday and cancel a whole meeting on the Wednesday. So the weather was shocking, Steve. But how are you holding up?
Fine, actually. Yeah, it's. I have. You really miss the action, don't you? But as Nathan of you have said, it's safety first, isn't it? Safety paramount for the people, and of course the horses batten down the hatches, and I think it looked like a super typhoon in the end, wasn't it? So, I mean, there was just no way that Happy Valley, it was a good decision, wasn't it, just to actually cancel it early doors, so there was no doubt whatsoever. Made me a lot keener for this bumper 11 race fixture, and a really interesting car too. And and as usual, Zach Purton, it's not inconceivable. Of course, it's impossible, of course, but he has 11 live chances, doesn't he? Really, it's a kind of book of rides that some jockeys would just give their right arm for,
Yeah, for sure. We'll briefly touch on last weekend. I know they lost the last two races. We had some winners like Harker Radiance. Motor was a good win. Emblazon, I can't even pronounce that properly. That's terrible. Emblazon, Precision Goal, good. Sky Trust, solid win. Mojave Desert. Is there anything that you guys want to touch on from last weekend that really caught your eye? I know the weather threw a lot of racing into disarray, but is there anything you want to touch on, Nate, Steve?
I thought there were a couple of nice performances. I thought Sky Trust was a nice win. Horse had been sort of building a little bit, and Wonder Star went out a decent clear. Won well, Sky Trust, and put a margin in them. So I think you got to be respecting that moving forward. Like you said, the conditions were testing. So how much do you play into that when you do the form, when you see him pop up, probably up in grade moving forward? So that was interesting. And also the race after, I thought the last two were really interesting with Solid Win. Geez, he's been a bit of a sort of a tough one to find for me, but I always thought he had ability, but got back and ran on really, really nicely. And that was in obviously what ended up being the final turf race of the card. I thought it was an excellent win. The Air obviously had won the start prior. So interesting that form line's starting to stick on well. And I thought all things even, I thought Solid Win was excellent from the rear of the field, making up significant ground. So a couple of interesting wins. Steve, any thoughts on the card from you?
Yes, like yourself, Sky Trust was an impressive 3-length winner. Solid win, a solid horse, isn't he? And beating the Air, who built and backed up his previous win, and in the final race before it was sadly abandoned, Mojave Desert, just showing you just how effective he is, and travelled supremely well under Andrea Zini. And justified favourite. Is a really nice horse, isn't he? He's very adaptable between 1200 and 1650, and if there was a 1400 race, he'd be winning that as well. But yes, a very interesting card it was. Hacker Radiance definitely due a win, and he got it. And in the first race, I think it was Mr. Aladdin I actually picked in that race. And the thing is, it was a Storm Rider, Zach Purton's horse in that first race. Storm Runner, Storm Rider, just becoming frustrating now. But Mr. Aladdin was slowly away. Nothing from 26 now, I think he is, but slowly away. But wasn't beaten that far, and probably deserves another chance.
Yeah, it was, as I said, it was one of those. I thought it was one of those meetings that I thought there was some live changes at the end that got cancelled, but we'll talk about that later on. Before we go into this weekend, let's not forget too, upcoming Wednesday, they've got the Group 3 National Day Cup at Sha Tin as well. Make sure you have a look at the entries for that. It looks like a cracking card as well. 1,000 meters is the National Day Cup. So there'll be no Happy Valley. It'll be Sha Tin, which is always good. We'll start this weekend with the races. They're on the C+3 course with 2 all-weather races. Warm conditions again. Obviously, I'm not sure what the track condition is at Sha Tin. They don't put that up till race day, but it's good that they haven't had any races for pretty much a week. So the track should be in pretty good condition. Weather-wise, they look like they're warming up a little and not much, if any, rain at the moment. So the track should dry out nicely. Nath, Steve, is there anything you want to add on that? Do you think the track will be tip-top ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. Drawing track should be good. Rail out C+3, like you said, I think should play relatively fair, maybe a little bit up and in. I tend to play the C+3, even at Happy Valley's more so, but even at Sha Tin, I do think I tend to sort of play barriers a shade more when the rail's out. But no, it should be pristine condition. Steve, what about you?
Yes, absolutely. I think the rail has gone out slightly, hasn't it? But everything should be okay. It was as it says, it was a tiny little space, wasn't it? If they had a clear 45 minutes of dry weather, you wouldn't have found it again. It was literally just over 1 horse length. And it was only because of the constant rain. Had it actually been in the straight, they could probably have completed the course. But having been on the bend, it was just problematic, wasn't it? So regrettable, isn't it, that probably the 2 most interesting races were the ones, obviously, at the end. It was what we were kind of looking forward to.
Yep, that's right. So we're going to kick off this week with race number 8. It's the Celebration Cup Group 3 over 1,400 metres, 4:35 local time. 6:35 here in Australia. We're going to kick off with Packing Hermod, which is an interesting runner. He's coming off 1 trial, ended last prep with a win and a placing in the Group 3 Premier Cup. Nath, what are your thoughts around Packing Hermod?
I think he's a really nice horse. He just sort of came alive at the end of last preparation. Like you said, was good. Beating home, Dancing Code, last preparation over this track and trip. And then ran in the Group 3 Premier Cup behind co-partner Prance. And the setup that day was poor. Co-partner Prance went forward, set a pretty moderate tempo, and was able to sprint and hold off some fast-finishing horses. But they just couldn't quite get by him under the sit and sprint conditions when they turned. Co-partner Prance got a nice little break there and was able to kick away that horse. Rocks up here and draws the wide barrier. So interesting, you can tie them into each other very clearly. Co-partner Prance obviously having that run first up in the Chief Consecutive Cups, while Packing Hermod's here first up, go straight to 1,400 metres. I thought the trial was good coming into this. A couple of really interesting runners that we're about to talk about, I do think probably have him slightly waning in this race with the 60 kilos. He does have to lug a pretty hefty weight, considering he didn't win that race at the end of last preparation, but does meet co-partner Prance and a few other key runners better at the weights. So that's an interesting thought. Barrier 7, I think he should be able to slot in somewhere midfield with cover. Brett Abdullah should be able to do that. And this Francis Louis trained gelding, I still think has plenty of upside. 11 starts for 6 wins and a couple other minor placings to his name. It was really his first Hong Kong prep last season, and I thought he was really, really good, and I still think he's got rating points up his sleeve. I've got him in for a clear 3rd. I think there's 2 other runners that, again, we'll talk about shortly that I've got ahead of him, but he's a live chance, and I wouldn't shock me to see him sprinting over the top.
He's quite a good fresh horse too, 3 from 3 first up. He's 3, he's runs well over the course and distance, Steve, and he maps really well.
He does. I mean, first of all, what a superb race, isn't it? A full field. It's really difficult to safely discount any of those runners. Son of Rubik, and he took in the Classic Mile and Classic Cup in last season's 4-year-old series. As Nathan alludes to, 6 wins from 11 starts and finished the campaign strongly with 2 course and distance victories. Couldn't quite land the 3-timer, went 3rd in the Premier Cup. And he lines up having had 1 trial, chasing home Sing Dragon, and wears a visor for the first time, having won one in the trial. I suspect 1400 maybe his minimum trip these days, and I respect him. He wouldn't be top of the pile for me. I mean, I'd probably think, third place. Shatton and Happy Valley are a great place for proving you wrong, isn't it? When you look back, but I'd probably have him at best, maybe the bronze medal, and maybe just outside the frame, Brenton Abdel up for the first time. But his fresh record is worth considering. But I think there's a couple of others that I'd probably have ahead of him. But he's still a highly respected and very able horse.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he's definitely one of those top 3 chances. Packingham, as I mentioned, his fresh record is good. His course and distance record is pretty good too, and he maps really well. So he's definitely a live chance. But is he as live a chance as our next runner we're going to talk about, My Wish, who, Nath, has won first up on a good to yielding track. So say there is a chance that there's a bit of wetness around still. He is a live chance, and not to mention he's 2 from 2 course and distance.
Yeah, it does no worries for him, doesn't it? I just love the way he finished off his last preparation, My Wish. He was sensational. You only have to go back 2 starts ago. 2,000 metres for the first time, Hong Kong Derby. A lot of pundits, including myself, thought maybe there's a query here, but he was so good against the pattern in that race. It was up on speed. You had to be up and in to be winning that day in the way the Derby was run, and he was just on another level as he stormed through the line. He then went to the Hong Kong Mile, and he was well backed. I had reservations that he was going to take on the older horses and be a live chance in that race, but, geez, he was just absolutely sensational in the Champions Mile. Obviously, Red Lion, again, another slower sort of run race up on speed. Voyage Bubble and him clearing out on the rest. Sunlight Power, again, another horse you can tie this one into. But I think My Wish, just with more rating points up his sleeve, the way he was finishing the campaign, Mark Newnham's got this horse absolutely flying. And again, we look at this map here from Barrier 4. I just think the way this maps, he can either lead, sit outside it, or find the 1-1. If there's a few horses here, you look at like Moments in Time, that horse probably goes forward, and also Co-Partner Prance. If those two try to go forward instead of Genuine Tempo here, My Wish just carts in that perfect 1-1 position. Or if they go slow enough, he could even lead and make all here. But I think another key factor here with My Wish, and the reason I've got him up in top of my numbers is because of those 2 barrier trials. My goodness, he's coming back in super order. That last trial, particular on the all-weather service, beat home Talent's Ambition and did it very, very nicely. Won by 4.5 lengths, hard held to the line. I thought it was a really impressive piece of work. He's got a first-up profile, 2 for 2 at the track and trip. It just sets up perfectly. Spoiler alert, I've got him a clear on top, boys.
Yeah, he's 1,400 metres here first up. A lot of his, obviously, through the 4-year-old series, he went over the mile, 1,800, 2,000. 1,400 to 1,600 looks ideal, doesn't it, Steve? But with the speed in this race too, like Nathan mentioned it, there was My Wish is drawn superbly. You got Moments in Time to his outside, Co-Partner Prance, and you could probably throw in Victor the Winner from out wide as well.
Yes, I mean, as Nathan alludes to, what a wonderful horse, a real professional. These 2 trials where he won were just a great pointer. It's hard to imagine him not running a huge race on Sunday. 4 wins from 11, winner of the Classic Mile, runner-up in the Classic Cup and the Hong Kong Derby. I mean, gate 14, I mean, no disrespect to Cap Ferrat, but my goodness, what an immense run that was from that gate. And signed off last season when 4th to Red Lion in the Champions Mile. I'm not allowed to say Red Line was my each-way selection at 90 to 1.
I was about to give you a pat on the back, Steve, so that's no worries.
I've said it now, sorry about that. But he just couldn't pick up. But I mean, at the end of the campaign, what a great run that was as well, taking on the older opposition. This is his first go at 1,400 metres since a Class 3 success back in December. But he's just very, very good. And as he's also, a spoiler alert, my horse as well. I mean, there's such good horses in this race. It wouldn't be a surprise to see something else. I mean, Johannes Brahms and Devano, such good horses in here. But gate 4, so ideal. And it's been a South African domination on his back, really. I mean, it's been Luke Ferraris, all but one. And the other ride was fellow countryman Lyle Hewitson. But he would be my pick in what is a superb renewal.
Oh, I've got the coughs, friends. Yeah, it's an interesting one. With My Wish, as you said, like with a good draw, he could push up and lead if he wanted to, but if the speed's intense, he could take a nice sit. and dictate. He could be off the rail, and if that's the way it plays, hopefully Luke Ferraris is paying attention to how the track's playing by this time of the day. But another runner who's having his first start in this upper grade, his 2 Class 2 runs were absolutely superb. Number 12, Light Years Charm. He's trialled up nicely too, Nath. I tell you what, he could be, he's 5 from 11 with his wins. He's 9 out of 11 top 3. He could be a real thorn in the side of My Wish with Zach Burton aboard.
He is the fly in the ointment. He's the danger. He's a very, very good horse. The way he finished off last prep, like you said, 2 track and trip wins, and both of them were really good. The Reunification Cup win was sensational. He sort of half missed it, dragged back, powered through the line with Mickley to his outside, but just wanted it more. He just wanted it more that day and just powered through the line. The setup here is ideal. Again, you look at the Matt Draws Gate too. Going back through some of his replays, I thought that was where he was probably a little bit vulnerable. It was just that when he was caught inside of runners, he got a little bit held up. He was a little bit shy to sort of take those gaps and really rattled through to the line. When he's drawn out wider and sort of got that cart 3-4 wide into a race, he's been a lot better. So I'm just a minor concern that if he half missed it and My Wish gets Matt Favours on him, I just thought maybe, even though they've both trialled really well, I thought My Wish looked a little bit more Rita Rock here first up, while this guy, Light Years Charm, still has a few, maybe might need the run here before he sort of peaks. But he gets in pretty well here with the 56.5 kilos, considering you look at a horse like My Wish gets in with 59. So they're well weighted comparatively. Very interesting runner. If he gets clear and My Wish is sort of vulnerable the last 100 metres with a bit of race fitness, comparatively, it would not shock me at all to see Light Years Charm powering over the top and getting the win. So in a perfect world, I'd like to back them both. I'm not sure how I can. I'll sort of wait for markets to come on Sunday, and maybe I'll find a way to sort of find them in a betting strategy together. What that looks like, I'm not sure yet, but he's the clear danger for me. But goodness me, he could have plenty of upside and plenty of ratings points to still go through as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd love to back them both as well, but I just feel with My Wish's profile and then Zach Burton on the other one, I don't think it's going to be logically possible, unfortunately. But this runner, Steve, Light Years Charm, I'm just having a quick browse through it all. He's 4 wins. He's raced over the 1,400 metres in every start bar one. And have a look at this SP profile. I know there's some that are really big on SP profiles. He started $3.70 on debut, then went to $11 in his second start, and since then he's gone $1.60, $2, $2, $1.90, $1.50, $1.70, and $2.10.
Yes, I think
Huge.
I think that's what you call well found in the market.
Yes, and he's run consistently well. The worst he's finished is 5th. So, Steve, I know you've already mentioned about My Wish, but does this guy rate really high in your?
He must do, isn't he? I mean, he's the new kid, isn't he? He's relatively lightly raced. He's got more upside than the others. I mean, his form figures 5.43, 1.32, 1.11. Incidentally, he's the heaviest horse in the lineup, and My Wish is the lightest. So, but as you say, 1,400 bar one, it's been 1,400 meters that he's won, and 4 wins from 9 starts, and finished the campaign, hat-trick of wins over the course and trip. Habitually a little slow from the gates, even the barrier trials, just slightly slower. 14 runners. That's my, I suppose, one concern. In this kind of fierce competition, you don't want to be having to weave your way through. I mean, they're not serious tardy starts, but he's generally in the second half of the field, I would say. But finished with a wet sail, didn't he, to hold off Mickley in the Urinification Cup. But yes, fantastic horse. Looks set for a big run. David Eustace, I know it's very early in the season, yet to get a horse better than 4th so far. I'm sure that's kind of meaningless because this horse is probably tuned up to run well. But it's just mindful that he's not sprang from the blocks like Danny Sherman, a few others, Mark Newnham, and even John Size has not been too bad. But still to hit the frame. David Eustace, a marvelous trainer though.
Yeah, and this is amazing. Like this race, like you mentioned this race, you got like Patcha Theta, Victor the winner, and we already mentioned Packing Hermod. You've got Sunlight Power, Ruby Lot. I mean, this is a hot race. I think it's definitely going to be a form race going forward, especially for the likes of My Wish and Light Years Charm. Be interesting to see how they both measure up, but I think we've already discussed. Nate, Steve, My Wish goes on top.
Yeah, My Wish for me. Look, I just think the map and the setup here, two awesome trials leading into this race, and he looks ready to rock and roll. And as I said, I think, he's still got plenty of work to sort of do in his rating. I think at the end of last season, he was a real coming of age prep, because every time he sort of went around, I wanted to be against him, but he just kept defying me, and I thought he was really, really good. In that last start and against the older horses, so if he can replicate something similar and rate a similar run in a race like this, he's got to be considered the top pick for mine. And again, just the map favours that he gets over a few key chances, like a horse like Ruby Lot, drawn 14. If he drew a gate and got a better map, I would have really considered him. I thought he was a nice run at the end of last season as well. So the race definitely doesn't end just outside him. I thought it was a lot of depth in this race. So a form race that I think we'll all be following, maybe possibly even into December as well, because a few of these horses I think might be rocking up then.
Steve?
I got, I very briefly lost internet. Are we still talking about the My Wish race?
Yes. We're just basically capping off the best bets. You already sort of touched on that. My Wish was your top runner.
Yes, I agree. It's for me so adaptable too. I mean, 1400, 1600 meters. You get the feeling even if he went down to 1200, he'd still give some sprinters a run for their money. He's just a very, very good horse, and so consistent. And whatever happens in the race, whatever the tactical scenario is, he's just a very uncomplicated horse and classy. And he's the one for me.
Perfect. I think it's My Wish all around, unless the prices reverse. I think they'll come. It's hard because we don't have markets, and we work off our own form, but then we compare to markets, and that's how I do a lot of my betting. So I tell you, if Light Years Charm ends up outsider to My Wish, it may be considered a bet. I want to see how that pans out, but My Wish on top for me as well. We're going to move on now to the next race, race number 9, the Class 2 over 1,200 metres, the Magpie Handicap, 5:10 local time, 7:10 in Sydney. This is one of the races I'm pretty sure was rescheduled. A lot of the same runners here. We're going to kick off with number 2, Gorgeous Win, who was a fantastic fourth, Nath, behind Car Ying Rising, I thought, coming from the rear of the field. Definitely one of those consistent runners, 14 out of 24 in the placings, but generally likes to get back.
He does, and that's probably barrier 10 was an interesting barrier he drew in this race. Gets you to Bowman. Now, it's funny you mentioned last Sunday. I had him as a bet because he came at a nice price, and he drew barrier 1. He drew a nice gate there. Now he's drawn barrier, I think it was at barrier 10 now. So interesting, the setup now. It's a slightly different shape for mine. He's drawn out wider. He gets 6.5 kilos in this field. But you go back to that run, as you said, in the Chief Executive's Cup. He got him with rock bottom, no weight on his back due to Car Ying Rising. But I thought he was really good through the line, and it was a good return. And a few other runners come through that form line. A few of those were stopping. He was not one of them. I thought he went through the line really, really nicely. So it sets up nice in terms of the speed as well. It looks like a genuine tempo. So regardless of him getting back, you think he should be hitting the line strongly. Brings a good profile. He's well exposed now. 25 starts, 5 wins, with 9 more minor placings. So he's always in and around the money. He always runs well. He probably went a little bit off the ball at the end of last preparation, but he was just taking on some stiff competition. So now back in grade, second up. He's got fitness on a lot of these rivals, which does matter when moving into the preparation. So definitely figures in and around my numbers. I've got a couple in front of him, but I think with the setup, he fits in really well.
Brittany Wong rode him really well last start, I thought, and now as you could potentially say she's an apprentice. It's an upgrade in terms with Hugh Bowman going on board, isn't that right, Steve?
That's right. I just noticed there you say it's the Magpie Handicap, so it's a bird theme at Shatton. Lots of tweeting, I'm sure, will be going on.
Well, don't come to Australia in spring, I tell you that. Magpies will get you.
Yes,
They will.
yeah. As Nathan says, Hugh Bowman replaces Brittany Wong, and he ran very well, didn't he? In the Chief Executive Cup, he sort of picked up the pieces there, but stayed on very nicely. Just a sort of reappearance you would hope to see, finishing fourth to the unbeatable Kaying Rising. Very likable type, trained by the informed Danny Shum. He probably found life hard towards the latter half of the last campaign when his mark reached the mid-90s and beyond, but back to a more feasible mark now. As if I remember correctly, he was drawn one in the abandoned race, wasn't he? But now I'm afraid to say a double-figure barrier in 10 makes life a little bit more difficult. But does have a healthy pool at the weights with Dancing Code as well on their last run in the last campaign in the Class 2 Philip Chen Trophy, because Dancing Code is now ridden by Vincent Ho instead of Ellis Wong, who's suspended. So he's actually £10 better off. It was going to be 5, but now £10 better off with that horse. But yes, a very good. I just think that despite the fact that his mark is coming down slightly, I still think off his weight, it would be a big ask to win. He could, but I think there's other horses that I would prefer that will be receiving weight from him.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Gorgeous win. Back down in grade from last start down into Class 2. As you said, the drawer is the big one, isn't it? He's gone from an ideal drawer to not so, and especially if the track plays a certain way. But regardless of which way the track plays, number 6, Tomodachi Kokoro, is one that should be able to adapt from an ideal barrier 5, Nath, and 2 nice trials coming into this one.
2 really nice trials. I love the way he's trialled up heading into this. Now, he's probably one of the more exposed runners in this race. Obviously, he's got a stack of starts, 41 in total. He's had a lot of runs at Sha Tin. He hasn't got a great track and distance record, 10 starts for just 2 minor placings. But I don't think he's had much of a chance in terms of the setup. I think this is a great setup here. Draws barrier 5. He drew barrier 6 last week, so pretty similar in terms of that. But as I said, there's those 2 trials leading into this. Look like he's rock hard fit. He beat on Dazzling Fit in a trial, who's a horse that I've got a big opinion of moving into this season. I think he's a big improver heading into this Hong Kong season. So he went out to the paddock on a really nice run as well at Happy Valley. He was well beaten by Beauty Ways, but I thought he did a good job. Got in low at the 52.5 kilos. Gets in okay here with 56 with Harry Bentley in the saddle. And the thing about him, again, you'll hear me sort of talk about it over and over again, is just the map and how he rates in terms of going forward, putting himself in races, and I love horses that can do that. He's shown plenty of versatility in the past, and I think he can do that on Sunday afternoon. You even go back to that run in the Shen Trophy when beaten by Dancing Code. It was a good win by Dancing Code up on speed, and I think when it turned into a bit of a sit and sprint and he was back in the ruck, he couldn't quite go with them in time in the likes of Harmony and Bless and a few other runners as well. But I thought he did a good job hanging on. He was only beaten by 2 lengths, and I think in a race like this, where there is a bit of speed, but I don't think they're quick enough to hold him out. I think he can jump, go straight to the top. I think the David Hayes trained 7-year-old, although well exposed compared to a few of these, can definitely click up and get to the front, maybe sit outside Dancing Code and really make it a genuine run race. And I think you'll get an each way price. You sort of get around that $9, $10. That's what he came up last week. And if he comes up a similar price, I'm happy to back him each way.
It's an interesting one with the speeds. You got Harmony and Bless to its outside, Steve. Tomodachi Kokoro should push forward, but you think Harmony and Bless will probably lead. I reckon Call Me Glorious will kick up and sit up the front with Harmony and Bless. What do you think?
Yes, I think you're right. I mean, and Call Me Glorious is gate 1, so he's ideal under Matthew Chadwick to try and make all these most effective when he's dictating matters. And Harmony and Blessed, as you say, lots of early pace as well under Zach Burton. Of course, Tomodachi Kokoro and Harmony and Bless, both trained by David Hayes. Definitely interesting. Kokoro, it's Harry Bentley, very good jockey, retaining the ride after a fine second to Beauty Waves on his final start last season. He starts the campaign off a £2 lower mark, and well berthed in gate 5. He's actually a pound lower than his last run. Well, it was his last win when he was one of 84. His last 5 runs have all been very encouraging. Be no surprise if he was to win. My only sort of reservation is he's gone 17 runs without winning. He finished last season third, fifth, sixth, second. There's no getting away from his consistency. But the campaign before 23/24 season, he won 4. And and then he went. I think it was 6 without, and then last campaign, nothing from 11. So that's my only. These are tough races to win, granted, but he's gone 17. It's a sort of a long losing run, and he does have a good chance, but at the same time, something normally comes along and beats him. For all that, I do like him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in the mix of things when the whips are cracking late. And so's this guy, I reckon, Harmony and Blessed. He's had 61 starts. He's been around the block, the 9-year-old. He's coming back from he read 7.25 lengths, dead last to Kaying Rising last start with excuses. He was wide without cover. He should put some pace into this race with Zach Burton aboard Nathan. So what are your thoughts around Harmony and Blessed?
Yeah, it's interesting. Last week, I didn't want to bar him in terms of the setup. I think he drew 11 last week, so now he's drawn 6. He gets a much better map. He's definitely one that I'm including in my multiples for quaddie players and things like that. Over here, he, like you said, even though he's a 9-year-old and well exposed, he just continues to sort of run and hold his rating. He was really, really good at the end of last preparation as well. As I said, you can tie him into that Dancing Co-Run and the Shen Trophy. He was excellent behind Wonderbar and Raging Blizzard. He can be a little bit slow at times, and if he does that, he probably has to use a few too many carrots to sort of pick up and get forward. But on his day, once he does get to the front and roll along, you know exactly what you're going to get from him. So, as you said, if he can roll to the top, get pinch a slow section, and then turn it into a sprint as they turn, he's got to be considered. He's one that definitely fits in, and as I said, I'll include him. Just a few rungs lower. Another one, it's sort of as Steve was alluding to, always runs well, doesn't always win. And I think just with the Burton factor, he's one that's going to probably shift in a bit in price. I think he'll be a lot shorter in the market than I'd mark him. So hence he does go down a little bit in my numbers, but definitely a live chance.
And he meets gorgeous win, or what's 9.5 kilos better off at the weights. He's one of a few that met with there was 5 of these runners that met on the 5th of July at the end of last season, Steve. Do you think he figures in this one?
You can never discount him. I love him. He's a fantastic servant for David Hayes over the years. 9 years old, still on the mark of 83. I think in this race, it does look difficult. I mean, the age catches up with everyone, but he really is a crack. I'm glad we're talking about him, because although he might find winning difficult in this level, he still is highly respected. You can imagine him running a good race, and he deserves to be talked about for his longevity. I remember tipping him last season at 28-1. When he was beaten a whisker by Nakoni County at Happy Valley, and he went up £2 to a mark of 79. And at the time, shows you a little I know, I thought, my goodness, he's going to find it difficult now of 79. He then, the following season, won off 87. It's incredible. He went up to, and he's had five full seasons. And last season, his 5th season, was his busiest with 18 starts. I mean, what a wonderful constitution that horse has. Quite incredible. I mean, this is obviously more realistic than the Chief Executives Cup, but it's an interesting race. I would probably rather have Tomodachi Kokoro, but with Zach Burton on, he's just such a consistent and honest horse. But I think there's others that, 9-year-old, no disrespect to a wonderful horse, but you'd like to think there's something who has fresher legs, who can beat Harmony and Blessed.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see how this track plays as well. Because if the track's playing up and in or on pace, Harmony and Blessed comes right into it, and we'll see what price they put up about it. With Zach Burton aboard, they might just, put too much in there. Do you know what I mean? Like he might come up severe unders, which might give us some prices about other horses. Nath, you're heading towards tipping one of the ones we spoke about, one of the ones that hasn't won at Sha Tin yet.
No, it's been a minute, but I think you can do it. Tomodachi Kokoro for me. I just think it's going to be an each-way price, a good bet and a good map, and gets the right setup here. Drawn barrier 5. I just think, Harry Bentley can jump, go forward, check out this speed battle, see if they go a little bit too quick, and if they do, I think you can just lob into the 1-1, get a nice cart into the race, and hopefully prove too strong. Look, again, he came up around $10 last week. I expect something similar, and as we said, I think a few horses with a different map and a few other slight changes, I think it sets up nicely for Tomodachi to be a nice each-way price. I made him one of my better each-way bets of the day. Just got to wait for prices, obviously, but I'm pretty confident we will get sort of around that $9, $10 come race day. So, Tomodachi Kokoro, I know he's well exposed and he hasn't won in a long time, but I haven't been burnt by him either. So he's not one of those ones where I've been following him and waiting. So I think now's the time we can back him off his rating and he'll give a live chance.
Speaking of one that might be a good each-way price, Steve's got one here that we haven't spoken about who has the cheek pieces and tongue-tie off first time, Steve.
Yeah, Midwinter Wind. Just back to Nathan's. I do like his selection. I think he's an interesting horse, but despite the long losing run, he's interesting. But I've probably gone for something kind of similar, something outside what I would the favourites. Interesting horse, Midwinter Wind. He made quite an announcement on his Hong Kong debut. Big price success over course and distance. Last week, he was originally allocated gate 10, which dented my confidence somewhat. But gate 3 is much nicer. And Lyle Hewitson, as before, takes the reins. His first, his winning debut went about £8 for that. And he was then tried over various distances, 1,400, 1,600 metres. But he never really threatened after that win in what was quite a light campaign last season with only 6 starts. He's been dropped £3 for this race, and that's only £4 above his winning mark. It's a bit of a swing picking him, but he's a 4-time winner in his native South Africa, and he won last season. This might be the time of year to catch him. Bit of a South African connection, of course, with Lyle Hewitson on board as well. And I really liked his trial, his only trial so far, when he was a never near a 4th under a hold to Call Me Glorious. And the same as Tomodachi Kokoro, he'll get a nice lead as well with the likes of Harmony and Blessed and Call Me Glorious from the plum draw. So the horse I'll take at hopefully a decent price, Midwinter Wind. And Mark Newnham doing very well.
Yeah, I landed with a horse that I was going to back last week, Dancing Code. I think despite the weight swing with some of these other horses, I love the map for Dancing Code. I love the fact that he's good, fresh. And I think Casper Fownes, who started the season unbelievably well, is going to have this guy ready to go, ready and raring to go. And he's going to get a suck run in between. Look, I'm hoping he might be able to just get off the rail slightly on entering the home turn. Tomodachi Kokoro is going to be the one that's going to be on his outside. So hopefully we'll be able to sneak out around the corner with Harmony and Blessed and Call Me Glorious. But see, Dancing Code's drawn barrier 2. So we'll see how that all pans out. Vincent Ho going aboard does worry me a little bit, only because I would have preferred the apprentice who knows the horse inside and out. But I'm going to go with Dancing Code. I think his course and distance record is good. His first up record is good. His trial was nice, and I think he can really shake things up in this race. We're going to lead on to our best bets now. Nath, we've agreed on this best bet, so I might do me and Nath before we get into Steve, because this guy, I've been waiting for him after watching his trials. We're heading to race number 5.
We are. I think it's a very nice horse making his debut. As you said, one we've identified from the jump outs, and we're talking about race 5, number 4, Packing Phoenix. I think it's a very nice unraced gelding here by Star Spangled Banner. Francis Liu trains. We get Zach Purton in the saddle here. Barrier 6 on debut. That'll be ideal. You go to have a look at his trials. I love the versatility he's shown in all his jump outs. He's sort of been able to jump, go forward, and also in other jump outs, just hold a position on speed, but with a little bit of cover and just explode through the line under not a lot of riding by Zach Purton. I do think he was sort of asked for a little bit more in his latest trial, and I thought it was really nice on the all-weather circuit, won by 2.5 lengths, holding out comfortably, the likes of Ninja Derby and Jolly Jumper. Thought it was a nice piece of work, and the setup here I think is ideal. I don't see too much speed. California Bay, at the top of the page, went and led last time. But outside of him, I don't think there's a lot of tempo. I think from barrier 6, they can just jump, go straight to the top, and prove very, very hard to beat here. I think he's an interesting debutant. I think, obviously, you got to start somewhere. And the fact that Zach Purton's been on him for every single piece of work and he's stuck with him heading into race day suggests this guy's got plenty of ability. What sort of price? I do think it's a competitive race. You look at the likes of Spicy Standard was a good debut winner, but it was at a massive price, so a little bit of a reservation there. Rising Phoenix was a horse we sort of half black booked out of that run behind Super Strong Kid last time, so that was 1,000, now goes to 1,200. So there's a few different takes you can have in terms of price. I think even money or better for me, though, which I think we will get considering it's a debutant. Packing Phoenix, I think, is the one for me.
Yeah, Packing Phoenix for me as well as the best bet. Look, Zach couldn't speak more highly of him during the week. He won his trials all on his own steam, wasn't even off the bit. So he's got a great draw here. I said they've been waiting for this guy. And I think he's going to be really, really hard to beat from barrier 6. I thought Spicy Standard might be the other one after his last start win and fitness under his belt from the inside. But I think Packing Phoenix, he's got this aura about him. I love that they're starting 1,200 meters class 4. I think he's going to be mighty hard to beat in race number 5. Hopefully we can get a price, Nath. That's the big thing. But Purton, first starter, nice trials. I don't know if we will, but fingers crossed. And we go to the last for Steve's best bet.
Penultimate.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yes.
That's right. I've written race 10 and I thought that was it. Then I was race 11.
We are bumping. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
yes, just first of all, it's obviously the two people with common sense here picking Packing Phoenix. A very good select. I was half expecting, I was considering it myself, to be honest with you, but apart from him fluffing his lines through inexperience, that's the possibility. But he looks a very good horse, doesn't he? But anyway, now to my rather chancy best bet, which I like doing every now and then. I thought I'd go for Armour War Eagle, which is in the penultimate race, the Wamai handicap, a cracking handicap actually, a class 3. He's a horse that really, I don't think he's achieved what he should have in some ways. 1 win from 18 starts isn't quite as good as he deserves. But I like him. I think he's an excellent chance. Obviously, he's not going to be a Packing Phoenix price. This is a wide open race, so there'll be a lot of kudos if this wins. But I don't think we've seen the best of the War Decree gelding. And I did like his reappearance. I thought it was a fantastic reappearance under Brendan Avdulla. He travelled supremely well. He finished a never near a 4th. He wasn't pushed too hard in the end. Gate 7 is fine. I liked his trial. And it's a very competitive race. I mean, you're looking at some here where you've got the South Star, Zach Purton, could be on a 6-timer. Who knows by that time? Spirit of Peace and Beauty Crescent, who was nothing from 32, but now 2 from 34, amazingly. Once they get the winning habit, it seems to be addictive. But for me, yes, I'll just take a chance, a nice price, number 5, Armour War Eagle. So I've actually gone for Mark Newnham in every single race. So that's him set for a stinker on Sunday. So hopefully I've not given them the kiss of death. But that's mine in race number 10, Armour War Eagle.
So we'll summarise the best bets on the card. Nathan and I have gone race 5, number 4, Packing Phoenix. Steve, race 10, number 5, Armour War Eagle. Boys, that's a wrap for Gates of Glory this week. Make sure you check out Nathan's articles on horsebetting.com.au and his handle at the Sideline Heat. Steve's handles at Shanks Pony and mine in the 1-1. Boys, another week's passed. I'll look forward to chatting with you both again next week.
Absolutely, mate. Thank you so much. And find plenty good.
Thanks for joining me, lads, and good luck this weekend on the punt. May your roughies run on and your good things get home.